Hi, I'm Dave Mars with Conservation Tips. On today's tips, we're going to take a look at clothes dryers and make them run more efficiently and safely. Now, since a clothes dryer uses heat and deals with high humidity, lint can accumulate in spots and they need to be periodically cleaned out. Not only will that lower the airflow, but the lint buildup can also create a fire hazard. So let's take a look at the spots that you need to clean. Since we need heat to dry our clothes, you can pretty well tell if that's working properly by just feeling the unit when it's operating. What's a little less obvious is whether or not you got enough airflow. What happens is if you have to run 2 or 3 cycles to get a load dry, and it doesn't get dry but gets super hot, that suggests that we have some blockage. So let's take a look. Now, your first line of defense against lint buildup, of course, is what's called the lint trap or screen. These come in most all the dryers that you'll run into, and you can see its function is a really fine mesh screen. It's meant to catch that lint before it goes down into the exhaust stream where it might be plugging up something. You want to clean this off every time you use the dryer. Now, if you got some lint possibly that's fallen down there over the years, there's a product here called a Lint Lizard. You might be able to find it at a hardware store or online. And it has a flexible tube that'll get all the way down in that chamber. And it connects to a regular wand of a wide vacuum cleaner. And then you can suck whatever's down in that bottom area there, see, and make sure that it's nice and clean. After we get the lint trap free of lint, the air courses through the tumbler where the clothes are getting dry, and it exhausts out here out of this vent. Well, too often there's not a lot of room between the wall and the back of the clothes dryer, and if you get a flexible vent pipe like this, it can get all mooshed up and curly, what have you. You should always kind of cut it as short as you can to be able to pull it out like this and push it back. Anytime you put a curve in it or have an angle in it, that's where the air's going to slow down and the lint can build up. And this is a dangerous spot because it's close to the heating elements, and this is where fires may potentially occur. So if you have a situation where you don't have a lot of room behind the dryer and the wall, there are some things you might want to consider adding to your dryer. Now, this one here is just basically a straight right angle pipe that you can connect your flex pipe to, so that eliminates the curlicue down on the floor that can cause you problems like I mentioned. Or you can actually use a unit like this, which goes behind the dryer, connects down low here, it comes up, and then here's where you put your vent duct on. And then you get it pretty close to 3 inches to the wall, and it saves you a lot of room. Now, if you want to avoid the problem about flexible ones getting all curly and slowing down your airflow, well, they also make a metal vent like this, which of course is not going to crush real easily, and so you can push it back and not have all that slowing down in the back side. The idea again here is just to kind of make it as aerodynamic as possible, because we want to get this air from the dryer to the outside with the least amount of problems. So of course you want to disconnect the pipe here, make sure this is nice and clean. You can use a bottle brush or a coil brush like this to get inside of there and take care of that. And then when you reconnect it, make sure that it's nice and tight here where it's coming out of the dryer. And of course that you've got the proper length on the hose, so it's not going to be too much back there. We want to slide it back in position. Now we got the unit in place, and you can see that we don't have a whole lot of curves going on right there. We've shortened this as much as we can for the aerodynamic qualities of the airflow. This, of course, is exiting outside right on this wall, so this is very convenient, nice and short. Now, some installations have this vent stuck going up into the ceiling. They may traverse over the 8 or 9 feet, or I've seen them go over garages. In that situation, that can generate some lint buildup that you're not going to be able to get to, so it's probably a good time to maybe call a professional to come clean that for you. And then you would have to do all this. Now, if you want to get a little more use out of your dryer during the winter time in particular, you can use some devices like this, which will reclaim some of that heat and humidity and blow it inside your residence. In the wintertime, that helps efficiency of the heating system have more humidity, but you don't want to use something like this, of course, in the spring, summer, and fall when you want to run the air conditioner and not have that heat and humidity inside. So this is a simple device here that basically is a bucket, and you have water in here, and that's the lint trap. So the exhaust goes under that, the heat escapes out here, humidifies the area. And the problem with this one in particular, it doesn't have a direction, so it may just have the humidity end up being around the dryer. So you might want to have a fan nearby so it can blow it out to the adjacent rooms, and nice humidity throughout the whole floor plan that way. And this one is a simpler device where you mount it in a vertical run of pipe, and it has a damper in it, and it either directs the heat into the living area or directs the heat up to the exhaust where it goes outside. Both of these you cannot be used with a gas dryer. You can only use an electric dryer. And a gas dryer, of course, will have a very simple plug similar to what you have on your washing machine, just a 120 volt plug, and also have a pipe coming into it with a valve on it, and that'll be your gas line. You can't use these on this because it uses the exhaust to carry the carbon monoxide out when the unit is operating. So you can tell you have an electric one if you have one of these big plugs like this and no other pipes going into it. Now the last part to making sure that our system is running efficiently is what kind of vent cover we have on the outside. There are some that are kind of cheaply made. They have little plastic flaps, and they're good for a while, but sometimes they break off and then there's nothing there. When the winter air hits that warm, moist air, lint builds up and those flaps may work themselves open and stay open. You can kind of determine that, though, a lot of times if you feel your dryer's like really cold, you don't know why, or the room, the area that the dryer is in can be super cold. That's because we got cold air coming in through that open vent. It also may allow mice and critters, insects, what have you, to come in too. So make sure that that is a well-closed system. Now there are some other alternatives that run a little more efficiently, and you can find these at the hardware store. This particular vent right here, you hook your exhaust vent onto this bottom part here, and as the air goes up here, it hits this cup right here, and the cup floats up so that the hot air escapes with the moisture, but then when it's off, it closes nice and tight so no cold air or insects or what have you can get in that way. Now there's another type here that you can find that they're large, have a large opening so that you get good airflow that way and more efficiency that way. Here's a critter guard on there, to keep something from getting in there, and some nice louvers in there that'll be nice. It will close real tightly, keep the cold air from coming in too. Alrighty, that's how you can keep your dryer clean and running more efficiently and not be using multiple cycles just to dry one load. You can also lower your threat of fire. You can also extend the life of the dryer by not having to use it as much. And you may also be able to add a little bit of humidity to your home to help you with your heating costs in the wintertime. Keep it clean and reap those savings year after year. This is Dave Mars with Conservation Tips, and I'll see you next time.